I hope you know that tomorrow is January 6th, a pretty infamous day in recent American history. It will be the third anniversary, after all, of the storming of the Capitol, the attempt to overturn the results of the 2020 election. And for some conservatives, it is a day not to be remembered, to try to learn lessons from, but to be commemorated, to take advantage of. And Marjorie Greene is one who tried to do that. So she had this event. This is first reported by NBC News, that was promoted to local Republicans as an exclusive event with Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene at the Westgate Resorts. The event details said the occasion was the third anniversary of January 6th. Now, initially, the event was pitched as just like a book signing thing, but it eventually, like, people caught on that this is not the extent of it. And the event was canceled by Westgate Resorts. They did not want to be involved in this. And I think there's good cause. So here is some of the documentation that was going around for the event. It says general admission will receive a book and be able to hear Marjorie Greene speak. VIPs will get their pictures with Marjorie Greene and receive preferred seating. Executive VIPs will be invited to a special private briefing on J6 and DC. So the event was canceled. I don't know if they're gonna be able to come up with another venue by tomorrow, but I just wanna pause on that note. And I wanna go to you, Jackson. We know what Marjorie Greene has said about January 6th in public. What do you think she would say in private to people who had just given her a bunch of money?
Probably much of the same, because she's out of her mind and she's the same person constantly. So I don't really think she would say much of anything different. Maybe she would curse a little bit more and say like spicy words, but like she just strikes me as someone who's always on the same tune. So like I don't really think there would be much of anything different. But this is to no surprise. I mean, anybody who has any type of healthy brand or reputation to protect wouldn't want an event like this on January 6th. I mean, it's just gonna bring you all types of scrutiny that you really don't need. And it's quite obvious too what you're signaling trying to have the event on that day. And ain't nobody buying her book anyway. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think that she's definitely one of the craziest people that we have in Congress for sure.
Nina, what do you think?
I mean, next they're gonna be trying to erect monuments to these people from January 6th. That's next. Following the tradition of what happened with the Confederacy in this country. The venue was absolutely right to do it. It's a dangerous undertaking. Anything could have happened there, and they were absolutely wise to say, nope, Marjorie Taylor Greene, not here and not on this day.
You know, I'm glad that you mentioned the monuments, because I think there's good reason to believe that 10, 20, 30 years from now, we could have something like that. I would remind everyone, I mean, most people probably know, but like we have all these national conversations about the monuments, like for Confederate, like war heroes or whatever. Most of those were not made back then. They were made decades later by people who were trying to rewrite the history of it. The Confederate flag wasn't that popular right after the Civil War. It was picked up by people who wanted to romanticize the effort to destroy the country and continue slavery way after the conflict was over. So I think, Nina, I think you're 100% right. Someday we could have people who try to pick this up, Stop the Steal and J6 and Make America Great Again, long after Donald Trump has keeled over on the toilet. But anyway, I do want to talk about the other side of this. And I would just really fast say, I understand that Marjorie Greene, if you were to ask her, would never admit that this was a horrendous act that Donald Trump was culpable for or anything like that. But regardless, she says that they were patriots. She knows that many of them are conservatives. That's why she has a problem with the fact that they're in solitary confinement. So even if she thinks it just got out of control, multiple people died. One of their protesters or whatever was shot dead, and she's doing an event on the day. Like, imagine if like a bunch of Bernie fans got together and everything got way out of control, and having nothing to do with Bernie Sanders or whatever, something happened where multiple people died. And then every year we did a big event on that day. Would we not look like monsters? And yet she's not seen by the right as a monster. And they're all gonna have events on that day. And I'm not saying that you can't do an event. If it's to try to, again, like I said, learn lessons from that day, make sure that it never happens, I think that makes sense. And in fact, That is what Joe Biden is doing. So he's sort of formally launching his campaign near Valley Forge on January 6th. He's gonna give a big speech. He's been giving a speech today, actually. He's gonna be talking about political violence and extremism and fascism and the fight to, protect democracy. And obviously we have a lot to criticize Joe Biden for, and we do frequently. But there are January 6th events, and then there are January 6th celebrations. And the fact that the right already feels free to do the latter, I just find to be so sick. Nina, I want to start with you. What do you think about Joe Biden's plans to give this speech?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, January 6th was horrible. And what is happening in this country to this very moment and what's happening in the world is horrible too. And so, John, unless he's gonna address all of those things, I don't know. I mean, just giving a speech, as far as I'm concerned, I have not been impressed with any of the speeches that he has given, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, the speech he should be giving at this moment as we look back on January 6th is what is happening in the Middle East. What is happening in the Congo, what is happening in Sudan, what is happening in the world, and how that type of energy and synergy is destructive to humanity. So I think he lacks the moral standing, really, to say anything about January 6th.
Well, I think, again, I agree. I think it's going to be one of many speeches that he gives this year. And, he's not like a great orator or anything like that. He never has been. So I don't think it's going to really make headlines. The way I see it, this election just boils down to Joe Biden not losing enough votes in the end. I don't see people flocking to people aren't going to flock to Trump. It's going to be a matter of if Biden doesn't lose enough votes in the end. So I mean, this is one of the most ratchet elections of my lifetime. I mean, we got Donald Trump, who is just beyond words, and then we got Biden, who's, kind of not really there. But to me, this kind of symbolizes the end of the Reagan-Clinton era. And that doesn't mean that the corruption and stuff is gone, but just in terms of the people who were at the helm of it, they're in their 80s now. You know what I'm saying? So the ultimate silver lining for me is that we have a lot of room and opportunity to get better people in offices from the top all the way down, federally, state, locally, all of that. There's a lot of room for Gen X, Gen Y, and Gen Z to get our behinds up in office. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to getting out the vote, not just for this election, but for all of these elections, because there's so much going on.
It's a great point. I mean, control the House, obviously super important. Difficult Senate map for the Democrats. There's a lot of races, even if the presidential race doesn't get you fired up, and I think there's a lot of reason that it wouldn't for many people, particularly leftists. There are a lot of races, local races, school board races, a lot, let alone ballot initiatives and all that. A lot of stuff to focus on. So I like the direction that you took there, Jackson, and it is a productive one. I would just remind everyone that while this should be the last election that looks like this, if Donald Trump loses and if his arteries hang in there, he could run in 4 years. I mean, he'll maintain control of that party until he is underground. So we might not be out of the woods even if Biden can put him away again, but we'll see.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. We really appreciate it, guys. And we appreciate it if you become members, because that allows us to be independent, honest, progressive, all the things that you don't get from corporate media. And all of that is because of you guys. Hit the join button below and become one of us. Become a Young Turk.